Welcome to the 7th video in my Inktober journey, and let's start this video off with day 21, Rhinoceros. My mind went straight to the fact if anybody had been killed by a rhino, and when I looked into it, I found a story about a 55-year-old man named Padma Barua in Assam, India, that was attacked and killed by a rhino this year in 2024. In the village where he lived, witnesses said that the rhino came out of the forest, became startled, and started attacking people, including Padma. Padma had stepped out of his house at around 6 a.m. and was walking to work when the incident happened. Locals took Padma to a nearby health clinic, but he was dead on arrival. The locals blamed the forest department for the incident, as there is no preventative measures taken to stop this from happening, because this is not the first time that this has happened. A forest guard had been severely injured after a wild rhino attacked him in the Kaziranga National Park. People live in fear in these villages in Majuli, the world's largest river island, just waiting for the next attack on someone by these rhinos. Now, the illustration that I decided to do for this one was not my favourite, but it was just basically a rhino hitching a ride on another rhino. So yeah, that's all it is, and they've obviously been through some sort of fight and they've come out the other side and there's blood over, like the rhino that's being ridden, and then the other rhino's got blood all over him as well from whatever adventures they had been on. So yeah, that's all this one is. Like I said, not my favorite, and yeah, I'll leave you to watch this one, and I will be back in a moment for the next illustration in this video. Day 22 is camp, and this one automatically took my brain to the Lake Bodom murders that happened in Finland in the 1960s. 4 teens went to camp along the shore of Lake Bodom. The girls were 15 and their boyfriends were 18. Between 4 a.m. and 6 a.m. on the 4th of June 1960, the 4 teens were bludgeoned to death by an unknown person. One of the boys did survive but suffered facial fractures and said that the attacker was all in black with glowing red eyes. They were found by a carpenter, and he was the one that alerted police of the scene. The killer had apparently attacked them from outside the tent and not inside the tent with a knife and a blunt instrument. It was always speculated that one of the boys in the group that went camping, named Niels Gustafsson, was the killer and either got into a fight with the other boy, which did the damage to his face, or he did the wounds to himself. Niels' shoes were found 500 meters away with everyone else's blood on them, but his own, which made it look like that Niels had done the killing. But in 2005, Niels was acquitted of the murders based on not enough evidence, and that he couldn't have possibly have done it in his condition at the time, as his face was so badly beaten. It's an interesting case, and if you want to look into it, be my guest, because you will go down an absolute rabbit hole. Now, the illustration that I decided to do for this prompt today was somebody sitting in a camp chair in front of a fire, and there is some mysterious beings coming out from the bush watching this person, and this person is just frozen with fear in their chair, just like, holy shit, what is going on? And I put some blood coming out of the eyes. Either the beings are doing this to this person, or this person's just in so much fear that there's just blood coming out of their eyes. But yeah, just a simple one. It's not one that is my favorite. I'm sort of starting to get over Inktober at the moment. I did this one just a little too high on the page too, so it looks a little bit weird with all the colours all at the top, everything's at the top, and then there's a gap at the bottom, but I just accidentally did it that way, unfortunately. And yeah, that is it. So I'll leave you to watch the rest of this one, and I'll be back in a moment for the next prompt in this video. Now, day 23 is Rust, and the first thing that came to my mind was the incident that happened on the movie set of Rust involving Alec Baldwin. A cinematographer named Helena Hutchins was accidentally shot and killed by a gun that Alec Baldwin was using in a scene in the movie on the 21st of October 2021 in Bonanza City, New Mexico. Alec Baldwin and the assistant director David Hall did not know that the gun was loaded, as this was the responsibility of the armourer Hannah Gutierrez Reed to get the live ammo out of the gun and put the blanks in for the movie scene. Alec Baldwin was originally charged with the killing, which didn't make sense to me because he had no idea that it was loaded, and it's not his responsibility to check the gun, but the charges were later dropped and the armourer Hannah was charged with involuntary manslaughter and tampering with evidence and was sentenced to 18 months in prison. This wasn't the only incident that Hannah was involved in. She was on set of the movie The Old Way with Nicolas Cage, where a few crew members complained about her handling of guns. This included an incident where she discharged a gun without warning, which caused Nicolas Cage to walk off set. Also, according to crew members on the set of Rust, they had gone on strike in regards to poor conditions and even poor pays, and firearm safety protocols were not on the call sheets given out on set to everybody. So the illustration that I did for this prompt today, first thing that came to my mind was just a rusty robot that has been torn to pieces and has been shot through the head with a gun, and it's obviously slid down the wall, and I don't know why a robot would have blood, but I made a robot have blood. And yeah, it's just rusted. I'll put some little rust particles around. You sort of probably can't really tell, but anyway. And yeah, that was basically all this one is. So I will leave you to watch the rest of this one, and I will be back for the final prompt in this video in a moment. Day 24 is Expedition, and the first thing that popped into my mind for this prompt was the first people to explore Australia. Dutch explorer William Jazoen and his crew of the Dufken were the first Europeans to set foot in 1606. That was recorded on Australian soil at the Cape York Peninsula. Then 10 years later, Dirk Hartog from the Netherlands mapped a stretch of the Western Australian coast. The most famous is Captain James Cook, that did 3 voyages, one to Hawaii and then to New Zealand and Australia. James Cook, who was English, was one of the first recorded to set foot on Australian soil between 1768 and 1779. Cook is known to be controversial due to his violent run-ins with Indigenous people on the lands he set foot on. Now, the illustration that I decided to do for this one in this video today, which is the last one, is of some people, as well, there's 2 in this picture, that were on an expedition exploring some sort of piece of land, and they got killed. Then they've got their bags there beside them, and obviously it was some sort of like natives of that particular piece of land that shot them with arrows. So they're like a primitive type of tribe, and yeah, that's what they did, and they're just laying there dead. They've been there for a while. There's a couple of coins on the ground because they might have been treasure hunting and found some treasure, and yeah, their bag was full of treasure or whatnot. So yeah, that's just basically it. There's a couple of crosses in the background just to represent more deaths of people who have probably explored there and died from these same sort of scenarios. Just another simple one, as a lot of these are, well, actually all of them are really. There's nothing really detailed here. And like I said, I'm sort of looking forward to having Inktober done and dusted. I sort of do get a bit like antsy towards the end, you know, wanting it to be over, because just drawing every day for, you know, 30 odd days or whatever is, you know, it takes a toll. Like, I don't like drawing every day, so yeah, it's just, I don't know. I do enjoy Inktober, but yeah, there becomes a point in the journey where I'm just like, yeah, I kind of just want it to be over now, and it's usually the last half of the journey. So I usually start off ambitious and then it just dwindles by the end of it. But anyway, I'll let you watch the rest of whatever there is left of this video, and if you like this kind of content, like and subscribe. Dislike it, I couldn't care less what you do, because any interaction you give me goes towards the algorithm for other people to find me. And hopefully I see you guys in the next one. We're on the home run now, so there's only 2 more videos to go. Woohoo! So, anyway, bye.